Good afternoon. I'm Mark Brunton, President of the Maine Service Employees Association, SEIU Local 1989. Happy to be here with such a large group of our members, my brothers and sisters. We represent over 13,000 state workers across every department of the executive branch of the state of Maine. And they have been working without a contract for 11 months. Today, we are here to publicly release the report of the fact-finding panel from our contract negotiations with the Mills administration. The law requires us to hold that report for 30 days before releasing it. That period was supposed to be used to reach a settlement. It wasn't. And the reason it wasn't is simple. The administration's negotiating team has been negotiating in bad faith. Let me tell you about what our state workers do. They dispatch 911 calls, they maintain the highways and bridges, they protect children from abuse in the home, they inspect our drinking water, they staff state prisons, they care for elders, they work in our state parks, fish hatcheries, school systems, and environmental protection. These are not abstract jobs. They are the backbone of every public service this state delivers. And they are paid 14% less than comparable workers in the public and private sector, according to the administration's own market pay study from 2024. That number in 2020 was 15%. So after 5 years, the pay gap has been closed by 1%. 1%. That is not an accident. That is a choice. The consequences of this are predictable, and they are playing out right now. There are hundreds of unfilled positions across state government. Workers leaving for higher wages elsewhere. Those who stay must absorb the workload of the people who left. They burn out, they leave, more positions go vacant, and the cycle repeats. We've seen this play out for years. And the people of Maine waiting for services, answers, and the help are the ones who pay the price. Some of our members, full-time state employees, qualify for MaineCare. Some are on SNAP. They're working full-time for the state of Maine and still can't feed their families without public assistance. The state of Maine should be setting the standard for what a living wage looks like. Instead, it's racing to the bottom. In negotiations, the Mills administration refused to even meet with our bargaining team until June of 2025. Throughout negotiations, they engaged minimally. In September 2025, they declared impasse, prematurely. Both sides went through fact-finding hearings before an independent panel. And last month, we received the panel's report. Here's what the fact finders recommended. A 2.5% raise in year one, a $1,250 signing bonus, and a 3% raise in year two. That is far less than what our team had asked for, but our team is willing to accept the fact finders' recommendations and reach a settlement on a contract on that basis. The Mills administration is not. In post-fact-finding mediation, they came back with an offer that gives the average state worker $800 to $1,000 less over the life of the contract than their own previous offer. That is regressive bargaining. They are moving backward. That is not good faith bargaining. That is bad faith, plain and simple. And they have the money. This is not a question of fiscal capacity. In the current 2-year budget, the administration and the legislature pulled $56 million out of the salary plan, the fund that's used to pay state worker wages, and spent it on other priorities. The highway budget pulled another $12.5 million. Two budgets were balanced on the backs of our members, on an already underpaid workforce. And now they want to shortchange those same workers on the fact finders' recommendations. Due to the state's continued refusal to bargain in good faith at the bargaining table, MSEA is filing our 8th prohibited practice complaint since 2019. The state cannot continue to insult workers with regressive wage proposals and misrepresentations of the money available for wage increases. This has to stop. There is no excuse for it. These workers deserve better. They are willing to negotiate a fair settlement grounded in the fact-finding report. The administration just needs to send their team to the table willing to do the same. The ask is straightforward. Accept the fact-finder's recommendations on wages. It won't close the pay gap, but it will help our members keep the heat on, put food on the table, and make ends meet. That is the minimum this workforce has earned. I'm going to introduce 2 members who would like to speak on their experience during negotiations, after which we will take some questions. We do have Tom Feely, our general counsel here, and Lindsay Bigelow, the chief negotiator on this contract, available to answer questions as well. So first, I would like to bring up Rebecca Karosky.
Good afternoon. My name is Rebecca Karosky. I'm from Naples, and I'm a member of MSEA's Executive Branch Bargaining Team representing workers in our Professional and Technical Services Bargaining Unit. I work as a management analyst too with the Maine Department of Environmental Protection, where I have served over 25 years. In my job, I do a lot of billing for the oil spill program and escalated collections for other programs. My coworkers and I have been working under expired contracts since July 1st, 2025. That's 11 months of falling further and further behind on the rising costs of living. And that's also on top of already being paid, on average, 14% less than other public and private workers doing similar jobs. My classification is closer to 20% than the market, less than the market, including the stipend that was awarded to the classification in March of 2025. The understaffing caused largely by the pay gap has stymied the state's ability to recruit and retain qualified workers. In my department, there have been probably 50 positions vacant at any one time. That may not seem like many, but we're a small department. We feel most of those vacancies in our licensing positions. Other departments are in the same boat. Here's a glimpse at understaffing throughout the executive branch due primarily to low pay, and I want to thank MSEA staff for providing these statistics for me. Maine DOT Highway has a 25% vacancy rate. Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry has a 21% vacancy rate. Department of Labor, 29% vacancy rate. Riverview Psychiatric Center, a 25% vacancy rate. The Department of Education, specifically unorganized territories, has a 60% vacancy rate. The fact is, those who choose to dedicate their lives to public service in Maine are doing so at their own personal financial risk. And it's a direct result of the Mills administration refusing to pay a living wage. I live in a single income household. My partner is now on my health insurance, which has increased our health care costs a lot, mostly in premiums being deducted directly from my paycheck. I know for a fact that a pay raise that at least keeps up with inflation would be extremely helpful. Because of current low pay, many of my fellow state workers are at a breaking point in terms of trying to make ends meet. Consider that. In the last 10 years, median home costs in Maine has risen over 100%. In the last 10 years, utility costs have gone up by 55%. New car prices have increased by roughly 60%, with the average new car cost surpassing $40,000. In the last 5 years, the cost of groceries has risen by more than 25%. In 2026, the average cost of a 3-bedroom apartment averages around $2,100 per month, or $25,200 per year, and that's without utilities. The average cost of childcare is around $16,000. And when the price of gas drastically increased earlier this year, our wages remained stagnant, making it more difficult for us to be able to afford to even drive to work. My fellow bargaining team members and I have been reasonable at every turn in our negotiations with the Mills administration. Given not just the rising cost of living, but the fact that we're underpaid by 14% on average, we felt that we were entirely justified in asking for pay raises of 5% per year. Please understand that in addition to state workers not receiving a raise since the contract expired, that they also faced increased health care costs last July when they had to take the brunt of the cuts to their health insurance benefits in the form of increased copays, deductibles, and co-insurances on both the medical and prescription side because health care costs outpaced what the state law allowed premiums to increase. Workers in classifications where they make closer to the state's minimum wage already felt like the insurance benefit is getting too expensive to use before those increases. The Mills administration would have none of it, and last September declared an impasse, which led to the fact finder's report being released today. I can assure you that nobody on our bargaining team is happy with the fact finder's recommendation of pay raises of 2.5% and 3% and a $1,250 signing bonus. We know we are all worth more than that. We know that every state worker is worth more than that. But we also recognize the need to move forward in these negotiations, so we're willing to accept the fact finder's recommendations on wages. The administration's apparent fixation on keeping wages low is all the riskier and insulting because many state workers face dangerous and traumatic conditions every day. Caseworkers, 911 dispatchers, transportation workers, firefighters, and psychiatric nurses witness society's hardest moments to protect the most vulnerable, often at great personal risk. The recent deaths of 2 of our union brothers in Maine DOT just 6 months ago on January 13th, 2026 in Waterville have made these dangers painfully clear. It's past the time for the Mills administration to recognize the value of public service in Maine. It can start making progress on that front today by accepting the fact finder's recommendation on wages. That really is a low bar for this administration to cross, but at least it would be a start. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Kelly Smith.
Thank you, Becca. Excuse me. Good afternoon. My name is Kelly Smith, and I am a proud State of Maine employee and a member of MSEA SEIU Local 1989. For over 400 days, my coworkers and I have been fighting for a fair contract. During this fight, we have continued to show up every single day for the people of Maine. We answer the phones, serve the public, protect our communities, and keep state government running because that is the commitment we made to the people of Maine. But while we have continued to honor that commitment, the state has failed to honor its commitment to the employees who make these services possible. This bargaining process has been exhausting. It's been frustrating to watch proposals come and go, experience regressive bargaining, and to receive offers that do not reflect the value of the work that we do. Every delay and every inadequate proposal has a real impact on real people. We are not deciding whether we can afford a vacation or a night out. We are deciding which necessities have to wait. We're choosing between groceries and prescriptions, putting off vehicle repairs, delaying home maintenance, and hoping the next unexpected bill doesn't come before the next paycheck. Every Employee Appreciation Day, Public Service Recognition Week, or agency milestone, we receive thoughtful emails thanking us for our dedication and recognizing the important work that we do. Those messages are appreciated. It means something to know that our efforts are seen, but appreciation cannot stop at an email. Real appreciation means making sure the people who serve this state can afford to live in it. Real appreciation means paying wages that allow employees to support their families without sacrificing basic necessities. Real appreciation means investing in the workforce that shows up every day, even when working under an expired contract and carrying heavier workloads because we have constant vacancies. Excuse me, vacancies. Whew. We are the people who answer emergency calls, process benefits, collect revenue, care for the vulnerable Mainers, maintain our roads, and provide countless other services that our state depend on every day. We're not asking for luxury, we're asking for fairness. The independent fact finders have reviewed the evidence and made wage recommendations that recognize the recruitment and retention crisis that our state government faces and the value of the workforce that serves our beautiful state. Today, we are asking management to respect that independent process and adopt the fact finders' wage recommendations. Doing so is not only the right thing for state employees, it's the right thing for the people of Maine. Fair wages help retain experienced workers, attract new talent, reduce vacancies, and ensure that the public receives the quality services that they deserve. My coworkers and I love the work that we do. We believe in public service, but dedication does not pay the rent, it doesn't buy our groceries, and it doesn't keep our lights or our heat on. So today our message is simple. Show us that your appreciation extends beyond an email, follow the fact finders' recommendations, invest in the workers who keep Maine moving, put your appreciation into action, and provide state employees with the fair wages we have earned. Thank you.
Thank you, Becca. Thank you, Kelly. And thank you to all my brothers and sisters here today. So I'd now like to invite General Counsel Feely and Lindsay Bigelow up to answer questions on the fact-finding report.
If there are questions.
If there are questions.
If there are questions.
So the fact-finding report recommended a 2.5% increase and 3% decrease year one, year two. Please tell us what the union, what your proposal, and what was the counter, what is the latest counter from those administrations? Percentage-wise, just so you can compare.
Yeah, so originally going into the fact-finding process, we were asking for 5% and 5%. Throughout mediation currently, we were requesting 2.5% in January of 2026 and 3% in July of 2026 with the bonus in October of 2026. And the state's last best final was 2% and 2%, January and July of 2026. And the 1250, which is no longer on the table, at mediation, they were offering 4.5%, effective September of 2026.
You said that was a difference of $800 to $1,000 over the life of the contract?
From their last best final, yes,
Per worker,
per worker.
average per worker. So it's about $10 million less than their prior proposal last December. It was valued at $38 million. Now they're offering $28 million over the life of the contract.
And the life of the contract is how long?
Through next
2027.
June 30th, 2027.
Have they offered an explanation as to that latest reduction in the offers that they've made?
Nothing clear, no. And this has all been going through a mediator, so we haven't heard directly from them.
Is it unusual to get to this point in your negotiations?
Yes, we haven't been here in decades.
45 years, I think, 46 years. 1980 was the last time that we went all the way through fact-finding into interest arbitration.
You said that the state took $56 million away from the salary plan that would have funded these contracts. Is that before or after the budget surpluses?
Excellent question. I mean, obviously, they've maxed out the rainy day fund through budget surpluses, but the 56 million, they've been taking that out and projecting losses, and then at the end of the day, they have more than enough money to max out the rainy day fund.
I think to the spirit of your question, that was done while they were projecting budget surpluses in that biennium. So again, as I stated in my opening remarks, they have the money. It's just a decision whether or not they should use it to pay state workers, and we certainly think they should.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you to everybody for turning out.
Thank you.